Hello, Akira. I forgot to tell people that not today, this week, I had more days off at school because after the election, we had election not for president, but for another, another candidate. And usually this, the voting and everything, it happens in the schools. For every like district, you have a school. I don't know if in other countries you do this, but yeah, we do have where you have to vote, and they do it on schools. But then the usually the week after that, the week after the elections, everything gets very like dirty, and there's like a lot of papers. There's people that, of course, they are assignated to clean after, but they usually don't make it on time. So we had a few classes during the week, but it was very few, very brief, because they had to clean the whole institute. They had to clean it well. Hey, Hope. But yeah, since tomorrow, and hey, Fluffy, and the day after, I believe they are going to continue. That we have to build the wall here, the wall that I said we have to build the wall. They yesterday they did the columns, the columns that is like the structure, and then they start putting the bricks. So I believe they're going to start tomorrow, and maybe Sunday. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow they can do the whole work. I don't know, because it's like two different walls. So yeah. But yeah, yesterday was a mess here. They came because they have to build this sort of because it's very high up there. So they have to build, I don't know how you guys call it in English. I'm going to try to look for it, the correct word. It's called scaffold, scaffold. I believe it's called a scaffold. A scaffold. So yeah, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but yeah, it's in a scaffold. They built it yesterday, and they filled the columns with the bricks and every, not the bricks. There were like pieces of stones, to make the column very firm. So yeah, tomorrow and the day after they have to start like putting the bricks. So I'm actually happy that this is actually advancing. They are working very well. My dad is helping them. So I think that I will have the thank God, if everything goes well, I hope with this wall that is going to be built here, I will not be hearing anymore the sound of the fans moving, and just like me fearing that it's going to fall on my head or something is going to fly. I don't know, it felt very not unsafe because no one is up there, but it felt very like too flexible, the material um of um, the fence is metal, so it's very fragile. It works. I mean, everyone has them, but for me, since I'm over here, I can see it through my window, and I'm like, this is moving too much. It's shaking a lot, so I get a bit. I get a bit like paranoid about these things, and the wind, and the bad weather. um I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing, but also privacy, because like I said, that we put this sort of film, this plastic cover on top of this fence, because usually if they have on the rooftop, they get together, but sometimes it seems like they don't clean, or they just leave waste, or they leave paper, or even sometimes they leave bottles, like plastic bottles. So the wind sort of carries them, and everything falls on my new garden, my new patio over here. So this is why I was like, I want to build a proper wall. So, um, no trash of theirs falls in my patio. I thought I thought your life would be earlier, and I wouldn't be home yet. Ah, you still have more peace and quiet. You will have more peace and quiet. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, maybe for someone that, I don't know, if this was just a room for me to just stay here and watch TV, or just, go to sleep, I think that it wouldn't be that, big of a deal. But since I work here, and I need, silence, or as much as I can get silence, so I have to be specific about certain things, certain materials, things that I'm going to list, and also I want to let, in the near future, I want to let the cats also go into this patio, open the door that I have here, and let them, they love to sunbathe in here, because there's like the sun, it goes, it goes very well in this part. So I want my cats also to enjoy it. But since that thing was moving a lot, I was like, I don't know if I want them over there. By the way, sorry for intruding the other day on the VC. I discovered that Moon in Gemini section is actually for VC. Yes, yes. Actually, like, it was something that I thought, because I was at home, and Samara had to tell me something. So we were, instead of messaging, I was like, why don't we, just VC like we used to. um Usually I don't be anymore, because since I have to, get up for work and everything very early, I prefer to, just not do the VCs, because we get carried away. We at least in my case, I like to communicate or listen to you guys, and sometimes when we do VC, we talk for hours. We don't even realize it, but we talk for hours. So I don't want to be, rude. I mean, like, okay, guys, I have to go. But yeah, the VC is available for whoever wants to join, or if you want to talk to someone in the community, and you want to, be in there, just use it. Yes. I didn't answer you. Hi, Akira. I said hi initially. You were the first one that I said hi to. I did say hi. Hi, Akira. Yeah, I did say hi. I believe I did. Ah. See, this is the thing. See why I need another device besides this one? Because now the chat is stuck. It's stuck. The last thing that it appears on my screen is the line of Akira that it says, "You didn't answer my hi." That's the last comment. Then in here I can see that you keep talking. Uh, but see, this is why I cannot trust. I cannot trust. But yeah, let's see. Let's see how it goes with my internet. Let's see. This is another thing why I was like, I don't want to postpone it, or if I don't, maybe I will be able to be here on Sunday, maybe not. But I didn't want to leave, um a lot of days between the live streams, because I want to test if the internet keeps, if it's having issues still. This is why I wanted to come today. Because I was like, I need to check. My dad did, he tried to arrange a bit of the cables. I don't know if he done it correctly. Let's see. But yeah, I needed to try as well, because the internet thing was also like, getting on my nerves, because I sometimes screen record and take some clips of the live streams to do TikToks. So if the image is all like glitchy and it's all weird, I cannot screenshot it. I cannot do content with it. I was eating Korean food. Yeah, I don't know what you were eating actually, Akira, because when I came into the conversation, you said that you were about to have dinner, but I didn't know what you were having. One thing I could hear was Samara say, "Hi, Fluffy," or I said, "Yeah, it's Samara." Yes, no, it was Samara, and I think I said hi too. Yeah, the three of us. I think that we all did say hi. Yes, at the same time. Yeah, I believe it's like a kimono. My cousin gave it to me like as a present a lot of years ago. And I believe during the pandemic. And for the live streams, I wear it because it's so comfy. It's like, it looks nice, but it's so thin, it's so light, and the colors is cute also. It's so comfortable. It's so comfortable. Mm. Okay, guys, I want to tell you who I have today for my very unexpected and random list that I requested yesterday. I was like, oh, guys, give me recommendations. Um, First of all, I'm going to read for former EXO member Luhan. I don't know if I read for him in the past. I believe his name is Luhan. He's Chinese, is he? I remember the other one, Tao, also. So I know that the two of them are related. Well, in this case, it's Luhan. Then I have twice Nayeon, that, she is a Virgo, and I have to read for her. Then I have the actor Joong Ki. Then I'm going to read for 17. Someone wanted an update for the group. Then I'm going to read for Treasure Kim Junkyu, for I-dle Japanese album in October that is coming out in October. And for the friendship between Jungkook and Jimin. So people wanted to know. Yeah, it also was very late for you, Fluffy. I can imagine that maybe when you were looking for this, when you were like going through the BC, you were like, oh my god, like like oops, like because it if it was late for me because it was near 10 a.m. No, 10 p.m. For you it must have been like very late. Yeah. Mm. Yes, very late for you. Or maybe it's not that it's late, but maybe it's like the first hours of the morning for you. That yeah, you should be taken to sleep. You know when it's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and you're like, I could use them and sleep, but there's it happens to me. There's days that I wake up at 4 and I cannot go back to sleep, and then I'm like a zombie all day, and I regret it. But when you cannot go back to sleep, I just cannot. It was like 2 a.m. Yeah, I almost didn't sleep that night. That's why I went. Yeah, because yeah, we do that. No, no. I don't know what else is there to say. I mean, I'm sort of waiting for, I need evidence. I need, because I know that they could, I need evidence. I need a picture, or I need them, somehow talking about each other or something like this to be like, okay, we are back on again. Um, but if it's, people's speculation, I don't know, because, since I read for them, individually when it comes to romance and this year in particular, I got their energy. Um, Honestly very immature. So I don't see an evolution. So I think that reading for that bond or whatever it is like giving shape to something that doesn't have shape. That maybe they are not in the right moment to make a decision, or they don't want to make a decision, or there's there's something, and I think that you know it's like going in something that probably it was just a moment, or it was something that it was special while it lasted, and now it's nothing, unless there's proof that they are back on. If there's proof, then I will read. Get me proof and I will read. Today a cricket was in my room, and I kept my awake from 1 to 3 a.m. till I found it. It sounded like it was in my ear. Oh my. Oh. But yeah, there's something about their especially, I have been reading for Taeyeon lately, and he just doesn't feel like he is like in love, or that he has like no, he's just enjoying his life, his freedom, his possibilities. So I think that in the case of Jennie as well, maybe it's all about her new projects, what she wants to do in the future. I think that if there's no evidence, I think that we should leave it where it is until it comes back, if going to come back. I think that these people, especially B and Jennie, they are very authentic and open, even as idols, about whatever is going on. So I think that if they work together, we would see something. But I don't know. It felt the last time I read for them, it felt so not just unstable. It felt immature. It felt like it lacked seriousness, or it lacked like, like maybe it's like a friendship and like a relationship, but then it's like, oh, let's stay friends or something like this, where it doesn't mean that things are not okay between them, but I think that it's not like a proper relationship. I wonder why they showed themselves though. Maybe they wanted to change things for Korean idols, like make it more a norm to date publicly. Hmm. Maybe they wanted to show their companies something to prove them that they can do this, because even each other's managers were present. You see them as authentic. I think that I see that maybe they have more freedom or more like after after the video, after, I think that after that it's like, we never seen something. We only seen pictures of people, wearing like these hoodies, all covered their faces with masks and everything. It was so, so, and there's always, it's always pictures and everything is very dark. And in this case, it was so out in the open. Like, it was at night, but it was very out in the open. And even the people involved with them are very famous, like are very known to the fandoms. Um, so I think that if they did that, um, and then there's a lot of things that are being shown, that it shows that the things they wear, the coincidences, it all matches. But I think that they also are like, yeah, yeah, it was me. They are not like confirming or denying, the nature of the bond, but at the same time they're like, yeah, that's my clothes. Yeah, that you seen in the picture, it's me. I wore that. That was what I was wearing then. You know, um, so it's like very specific evidence. This is why I'm like, if they're together, there should be evidence. Maybe a kind of rebellious act. Like dating would never be accepted for them, so they were like, let's just do it. Or maybe the new people already knew and could reveal it before them, so they took that power away. Especially since this person was revealing private things from Jennie. Yeah, but I remember coming across the pictures when everyone were like, "Oh, they are stealing pictures from Jennie's devices," and people like I remember people reacting to that, and people were defending that and saying that they were fake. So there was a moment where I actually thought that the pictures were fake. I thought that the pictures were fake because everyone was saying it. So, and you know how people are. Oh, it's fake. It's fake. It's fake. And then when the video came, it was like, oh, it's not them. It's another people cosplaying them. So, until I saw my favorite manager. I'm in love with Taeyeon's manager. I could recognize him, far away from a distance. I could recognize that man because I find him attractive. And I think that he got married. I remember my friend showed me this, that I believe he got married not so long ago. So he's out of the market. But that, and also I believe that Jennie's manager also is always with her. So she's also like they were in there with them. So you know what? But people were so in denial about the pictures. I remember. I was thinking maybe they have this more international connection. They wanted to maybe create the transition or something. Yeah, they probably were like, let's clarify things once and for all after the leaks. Yeah, we talked about it already, but I thought it was obvious they weren't fake when there was the same scene, them in the car, from two different angles. It couldn't be just Photoshop. Yeah, but people were like, "Oh, it's not them. No, it's." There was one in particular that I think that people were like, "Oh, it's fake." I believe it was a selfie of the two of them in the mirror. Um, I believe it was like near the entrance of his house, and people were like, "Oh, that's Photoshop." The fake, and since it looked a bit odd, the posing, I was like, "Oh, yeah, maybe this is another, Asian couple that," because it wasn't that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just that I think that people love to deny these kinds of things. But the thing about this is the power of Taeyeon and the power of Jennie. That I'm sure that Jennie must have gotten a lot of hate. I'm sure. But I think that, you know, they have a sort of autonomy of like, if I don't want to talk about it, I will not talk about it. But yeah, you've seen it. You've seen things. But I don't know. I think that they show, yeah, probably, a more daring side to themselves. Um that I never seen in another idol couple so far. And they were holding hands. They weren't like, like usually people, are start to speculate when there's, someone of the opposite sex, standing by someone famous, or two idols are standing next to each other. They were holding hands. So it was important. It was very, it's those kinds of things that even though if there's people that want to deny it so bad, you cannot deny it because it's on camera. It's filmed. You know what's going on with Jennie? By the way, why does she always have her performance? I had heard about that a while ago, but never really paid attention. I don't know. Are they still on tour? Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's like, I don't know. I think that they always been like this. I, I'm sort of used to that. I seen also grapes, and I'm like, well, a month ago. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't change. It doesn't. I think that at this point, maybe it is what it is. Yeah, it's like they never stood out also for like these complex choreographies neither. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Akira. Yes. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm so talking about it. Yes, yeah. There's for me it seems like it depends. Like I see her very animated when American shows or here in America. Maybe because her friends are in the audience, so she's sort of hyped up or she's happy to see them. But then when it comes to Europe and others, it's another kind of vibe. Yeah, but I think that is her style. She is like this, and mm, yeah, yes. The other day, I and yesterday actually I was uploading um, a bit of the reading that I did for Kentaro. And then, other TikToks started to come about, especially about these K drama, reviewers or K drama related TikToks or TikTokers. That I'm sure that they follow maybe, Kentaro's career or they follow what he does or they are. Hey guys, I'm back. I don't know if you can see me. I don't know if anyone left. Everyone left, I'm sure. It's my internet or it's the phone. I have no idea. Hey, I don't know. It's just, it said that it couldn't be connected. I don't remember. I don't know what it said. About Kentaro. Yes, everyone is talking about it. And apparently there's more tea about it. So, yeah. But I don't know what, I think that maybe it's like a cultural thing because I don't know about these actors having affairs, and I don't know, maybe is part of their. I think that they always are in scandals. I don't know. Maybe for them it's like, maybe this is why I'm trying to understand. Maybe when I read for him. Remember when I read for him, especially when I read for him on cancer in cancer season. Um, that I said something about him feeling like clueless, like like a person that is like, oh my god, I cannot believe that people are upset about this. Like there's a disconnection. So I wonder if for him as a person, I said like, oh maybe this is part of his charm. That actually it seems like he doesn't. Maybe there's like a level of disconnection of him being like, oh well, this was an issue. Oh, this, like, so maybe in his mind this is not cheating or this wasn't like that, or so I think that probably is something cultural. It's something that maybe we don't understand, but probably for them it's normalized. I think, yeah, I think I have this vibe. I don't know about the girl, now about the girl and her, also her things with another people that are taken. Well, that's another thing. Um, but um, I think Marushka was saying that men in Japan were less faithful, supposedly. Yeah, maybe it is like their concept of like it's not like the typical scandal that we call it, like not we, because we that we are a bit more mature, we are like, well, I don't think that I don't want to say like it's expected, but I think that I'm not shocked that a man, with his popularity, with his, that he has, um, different options, or that he has, girlfriends or ex-girlfriends, or a potential new girlfriend. I think that beautiful people, they always have options. um, Famous or not, they always have options. They're always in the middle of something. So for me, it's like I'm not impressed that an actor, um, I read also comments of people being like, oh, I used to be a fan of him, but now that I see how careless he is with his methods, I'm going to stop being his fan. And I'm like, okay. Okay. Not knowing how to make a decision about maybe his current situation. Maybe he wanted to stop, being with this person, or he wanted another options, and he wouldn't express it. So, there comes the cheating, as a sort of like symptom. Like, okay, here it is. I cannot say it to your face, but I bring someone along into a relationship, so you can see that there's something that is not okay. And it's true in Japan more so than other places. There's an obsession with youth, or if the woman becomes a wife and mother for a lot of men, she loses her appeal in a way. Mm. Yeah, people's reaction are so weird because do they think it's not like a lot of others aren't like that too? Yeah, for me, it's like, I think that it always is like this. It's just that, because of their image, and that they're always promoting these sort of characters, we remember them, oh, for this movie, or we remember them in this, I don't know, being ambassadors of this brand. So they're always flawless, they look beautiful, they look always like ready to shine. So you don't suspect that, they are so messy in their personal lives. But, I mean, but it's so interesting, when I went back to the reading that I did for him in Cancer season, how I got these two people in his reading. It was a King of Swords and a Queen of Pentacles. So there was, like not in the front of the reading, but at the beginning of the reading. So there was something that he probably was like, he knew it was going to come to somehow bring some issues. So I wonder if it's because it's not the stylist girlfriend, it's the actress, and she comes with another man that is the King of Swords. So I wonder, if both of them reach out to Kentaro about like, like trying to expose him or say something to him, because it's two people. It's as if this woman was married, and somehow, her husband found out about him and her. Something like this. Like she didn't enter alone in the reading. Okay, I'm going to start with the readings, guys, just in case I disconnect, because, with this, you don't know. Okay. Okay, I'm going to read for former EXO member Luhan. this man okay? I mean, I see him working, like somehow, maybe working helps him. I think that mentally he's like going through something. Okay, for Luhan, we start with the Nine of Cups, the Seven of Swords. We have the Five of Cups in the middle. We have the Ten of Swords, and then we have the Devil. And then from the other deck, as an advice, I have the Page of Pentacles. It says New Enterprises. So probably it's just a phase for Luhan. Is a phase. I see him very sad. So is he mourning something? Is he in a grief period? Because it seems like also his future seems. I think that he was able to. He's very interesting because the cards that sort of comes from his recent past talk about him being able to maybe win something or overcome something or him maybe achieving something like I also think that it's sort of satisfaction. I don't know if he won something or he was able to achieve something personally and he was very satisfied with this. So I think that it's not like he's always, or at least in 2025, I think that he could go back and forth with a feeling of I'm happy, I'm better, or maybe telling people I'm better, I'm doing well. But then he again enters in this, very, I would say, very, not so well, not so good of a cycle where he cannot get out. It's like a loop. It's like he goes from happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, and at the same time, I cannot tell you, it's giving me Justin Bieber vibes. When people are like, oh, we are sure that he's going to end up bad. I remember when I read for him, people were like, no, he's not okay. He's not the same. And actually, I saw the guy is going to continue working. He's going to, I don't know if he release an album or he's going to release an album. Like, it's just that maybe he's peculiar like this. Of course, that with his lifestyle and the decisions that he makes, I don't know, but I didn't see him like that lost soul that everyone sees him as. Like, oh, he's so lost, we lost him, that man is not okay, or he's like a puppet and people are like playing with him. No, it's just that he's not conventional. The way he acts is not conventional. And in the case of Luhan, I kind of see something like this. Like there's moments where if he is sad, I see him like someone that he's going to show up to work anyway, but you're going to see him that he's not okay, or that he's grieving, or that he's just, it seems like he drags this very heavy, dense energy with him, like this is what I'm like, it feels like someone that is grieving. Like, I'm so sad, I cannot get out of this, I'm so sad, even though I'm singing about happy things, but I'm sad. Maybe he is like this. There's a bit of I don't want to say that he enjoys being sad, but definitely he goes back to it a lot of times. He probably gets well or gets his act together, and then he goes back to feeling defeated again or feeling like a failure again. So with the Devil and the Ten of Swords as the future, when you say that it's not over, no, it's not over. It's not over. He's very stuck in his mind or in his perception. I don't know if his perception is clouded or he really needs help to get out of this mental state of his. Because I see him very evasive. He probably has this, maybe he's very charming, with the nine. The Nine of Cups and the Seven of Swords. It's like he gets away with maybe convincing people that, I'm okay now. But maybe people that really know him, they're like, I took a look at him and I think that he's not okay. He needs help. It's just that maybe he refuses to take a time out. Could it be? Because with the Page of Pentacles, as the last card for this year as an advice is, it says new enterprises. So he's definitely thinking about starting over, starting a business over, or starting with his career over. So he's not going to, take a break. I don't see him taking a break. I don't see him disappearing. It's just that maybe people will worry about him. They will worry a bit about him, about his. It seems like either it's the image that he exudes, or it's the behavior, or it's like he's sad. He's a sad person. I don't know if he lost someone. And maybe he says, or he tells people that he's going to be okay. But with the devil, I see that it could take a while for him to recover from this. Because the devil is attachment. It's like somehow I'm addicted to pain. Because it's what I know. He also feels like a loser sometimes. So, or maybe he tells himself this, he speaks very negatively to himself. Because it's only here. It's not, I don't see that there's people that, are, damaging him, or they are like stalkers, or no. It's just that he's in with this dark cloud above his head. And I think that this year is a year of grief. It's a year of facing your darkness, your demons. And it's just that I feel him also so anxious and so in need of, I have to go back to work. So maybe this is why it could worry some people, because it's like we are seeing him, he's right in front of us, and we think that this is not the person that we know. Like, what is going on? Like, what is going on with him? But yeah, he's going through it. Probably 2025 is going to be a very depressing year. Yeah. And he has attachments. It's not going to be easy for him to let it go. He probably makes a lot of excuses for himself. He excuses himself a lot. Like, no, I do this because I'm like this. I got this. I know myself. Like, he gives a lot of excuses to himself. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Tell her that I say thank you. That she's watching me. That I'm sorry for the low quality of my video and that it gets interrupted. This is why I'm so embarrassed, because, now that I have these people, that coming to watch my videos, I have all these technical issues that I never had before. So I'm so embarrassed. But oh well. Tell her that it's not always like this, that this is an instance. I think Luhan married earlier this year. Oh, really? Yeah, it seems like he's grieving something. Yeah, like a breakup, something. I was like, I don't see a heartache. I honestly don't see it. Like, I think that he's more like, yeah, he's sort of mourning what he didn't have. But probably he knew that the relationship wasn't going very well. Because this Seven of Swords is giving me escapism. It's like, no, a relationship is like a fairy tale, a dream come true. And why is one of you running away from the relationship? So there's a lot of guilt, but he's going to start over. He's going to start over. See him very motivated to start something new. It could be a new relationship as well. So don't be surprised if this happens. I don't see someone, but I see that he wants to invest in something new. He needs to, it maybe serves him for him to be distracted. But yeah. He's a complex person. He's a very stubborn person. It's really hard to tell him what to do. At the end, he does what he wants. I think he's a Taurus or Aries with Aqua Moon. He's in the cusp. Okay, I'm going to continue with Twice Nayeon. Twice Nayeon. A girl with a lot of plans. Very proactive, her, like always, like the queen that she is, always a lot of practicing, a lot of materialization of her efforts. This woman, I know that when I say Twice member, they're all working. I know this, but there's something about her, individually. She always keeps perfection in herself. Is she going to have a solo soon? I see her like somehow fixated on maybe a solo activity or project. Ace of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Two of Wands, Four of Cups, and the Chariot. And then I have from this other deck, as an advice, I have the Wheel of Fortune. It says turning point. So yeah, things are moving in her life. Things are moving. She's already like planning ahead. She has a plan. There's she has a lot of aspirations. I think that she worked on something. I wonder what it is. This is why I'm asking if she's going to have a solo, because I think that she already recorded or she already did it. The content or whatever it is, it's already done, because she's looking, it comes from the past. So there's something about maybe it takes a while for this to be released, but she already put the work. She's very efficient like this. So she's looking at it, the Two of Wands is like, she probably is like, I want to keep advancing in my career, or I want to keep advancing in my personal endeavors. She's always someone that is looking ahead. She's always someone that is like, projecting to the near future, like, okay, I want to do more, or I want to expand. I already gave you the work. I already put the productivity. Give me more. I think that things are going to advance, honestly. But she when the things advances, or maybe when her solo or her opportunity arrives, she could feel a bit detached or a bit discontent, like not so happy about it, because the Four of Cups and the Chariot is giving me like, yeah, I'm sort of taking this because it was about time, but I kind of grew tired of waiting. So there's a bit, when the opportunity to advance comes, maybe she will not be so excited like initially she was so excited or so passionate. We start with the Ace of Wands. So it's like she put a lot of energy and a lot of herself like at the beginning of the year, and it seems like maybe now, like a few months from now, she's going to start seeing some movements in her individual activities, and she feeling like, I don't want it anymore. Like, whatever you're offering me, I kinda am disappointed. I'm disappointed. So she's like, yeah, this that you're giving me is not, or maybe it's not what they planned initially, because there seems to be a change. But she's someone that she doesn't lose sight of her projects or whatever she does. It's just that she's also someone that is very, she needs, like a fast confirmation. She needs the confirmation, and I think that she maybe feel like she wasted all this 2025 year just wishing and expecting for this to come out, and it's like, yeah, I was excited back then a few months ago. Now I'm a bit like, now I'm not so happy. Or if I get it, I'm going to do my part, but you are not going to see me as excited. She's going to keep advancing nevertheless, because the last card is a chariot. So her career will keep advancing. She's going to keep delivering, how amazing she is. But they put her on wait. They put her on hold. And I think that this is what is making her feel like, at the end, you don't appreciate me. You don't appreciate me. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune, turning point. Yeah, whatever they give her, honestly, I think that, this is maybe why, maybe for Twice members, maybe for her individually. These are moments of a lot of turning points, a lot of changes, a lot of things to be resolved, cycles to be closed, then you have to wait for a new cycle to develop. Maybe she has to wait for other artists to finish their promotion so she can have hers. And then when she has hers, it's going to be good, but it's also going to be short. It's going to be cycle, because it seems like now this is the modality of work for a lot of idols, especially when it comes to solo productions or solo promotions. Is a moment, is an instance, is something that you're like, oh, this was great, I love this song, yeah, but they just promoted it for 2 weeks and then no one talked about it anymore. So maybe, there's something about, the something long lasting, or something that you want to create a project that can stand the test of time, and you actually see that everything is fabricated to be brief, and somehow she has to adapt to this new view that everything feels very express. Feels like, oh, you deliver, well, then now you're gone, and you leave room for the other people to come. It all feels very express. It all feels very heartless, even, like there's no heart, there's no passion, there's no artistry. This is why for her, I think that since she is so hardworking or so passionate about her craft and her talents, for her this is an insult. For her it's like, I had ambition this, or I had this ambition for myself, and this is what you want me to do. This is how you want me to do things. So yeah, but at the same time, the Wheel of Fortune is like this, at least for this year, and maybe the beginning of 2026 is going to be like this. Everything is about cycles. Enjoy it while you are at it, because it's going to last. It's not going to be impactful nor long lasting. It's going to be a brief moment, a moment where they talk about you, they recognize you, but then the next week they move on to another thing, or another artist, or another member, but it's not you. So it's not, it's not like she's going to get the spotlight or recognition. No, everything changes, renew itself. JYP does that with Twice all the time. Yeah, but this year is different, because I think that with the Wheel of Fortune, maybe she expected that now that things are changing, and certain details are being arranged, maybe she was promised that things were going to be different. But at the end, she's going to experience the same thing that she experienced before. So it's like, wow, like I was I was waiting for this, and I end up disappointed. Hey, Sinful. Yeah, also her passion is diminishing. Her passion, she's still a very driven person. It's just that maybe, this, if she's going through a sort of like a moment of like, oh, where she doesn't feel that connected to her craft anymore, or there's something that is bothering her, maybe she has to change her view. She has to put all that passion and all that of hers in something else that is not related to working. Maybe she has to find another passion, not to put all of herself in these things, because she ends up feeling very disappointed. So maybe, this is a part of her maybe coming to the realization that maybe she's expecting a lot from a industry that actually never treated her nor the others correctly. So maybe it's like, maybe you should, put all this talent and all this energy of yours somewhere else. Don't put it. This doesn't mean that she has to quit, but it's like, sort of face it, because I think that maybe she has people, or she has good relationships in JYP, so there's this feeling of like, then they promise her things, or they lift her up. They are very motivational with her. They are like, with you we're going to make a difference, with you we're going to make this wonderful. And then she sees the product, or the final product, and she's like, wow, this is not great. Yes, yes, yeah. But she's okay. It's just that the cards indicate a very sensitive moment, a moment of transition, a moment of change. This is why we have the Wheel of Fortune. Whatever is happening this year for her is not decisive. It's not like a year where you're like, oh, this that happened this year is going to mark your life, or is going to be the most important moment in your life. No, it could be filled with some events here and there, but it's not like it's going to impact in her. There's consistency. She keeps advancing. She keeps, showing up. Her energy is okay. It's just that, yeah, she could feel a bit apathic after all these years. Being like, oh, I feel like I'm living in automatic. Yeah, because probably there's not much excitement. Things that were meant to change, or maybe they were like, 2025 is going to be different, guys. 2025 is going to be different for you. And then you're here and you're like, this year is so lame. Okay, I'm going to continue with the actor Joong Ki. I haven't heard of this actor, Joong Ki. Joong Ki for 2025. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, for the actor Joong Ki, we have the Six of Swords, we have the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Knight of Pentacles in the middle, we have the Moon, and we have the Seven of Swords. And then from the other deck, as an advice, we have the card of the World, and it says success. Success for the actor. Yeah. Also, I feel like 2025, maybe because we are already in September, so there's not much in 2025 that surprises us about the industry. I feel a very low energy. Like, things are okay, or things are going to be okay, but it's just mediocre okay. I also feel like maybe the artists that I'm reading for today, they are not that excited, or they are not that impressed by how things are developing or have been developing in this year, and they are, still continuing to develop in the next months. They probably also have this feeling of like a bit of pessimist feeling of like, I cannot wait for this year to be over, because I'm like, this year wasn't, like I said, like I mentioned a few moments ago, it feels like it's uneventful. Like nothing interesting is going on. It's not like, they have this, no, I don't know, rich experiences when they're like, no, because this year I learned this, or I went through this and I learned and I acquired all these experiences, and I feel like this was so important for me. I feel them like they're like, no, no. Maybe things started very well, or the year started very well, and then everything became so dull. Yeah, I think that yeah, in his case, the Six of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. I know he's married. He's married. He has children or child. He's a child or children. I don't know. um but I think that yeah, he keeps advancing. There's something about him traveling with his wife. I don't know if he has to travel or he had traveled already. Maybe he's in Korea recording something, but I think that there's something about this woman being with him, being a very stable part of his life. And also maybe this is like a very important arrangement that they have together, or sort of like compromise, where it's like, if you are going to go to film something or to work on something, I'm going to come with you, I'm going to travel with you. So it feels like, for him it's okay. I see her like, it's like, don't worry, I will be there, or I will follow you, something like, I will follow you. But she's a very respectable lady. Like, I really see her very mature, very. Also, is she rich? Does she come from a rich background or something like this? Because, as the Queen of Pentacles, I think that she also is she loves to live a good life, and also she's very stable herself. So, I think that this is why maybe he keeps working or wants to keep working to provide for her, because I think that she's used to, having sort of lifestyle that he also is very prideful himself. He wants to give her and their family, the best life possible. They are very down to earth, both of them. It seems that they are um, very much involved or interested in economical security. There's something about, legacy and sustaining this legacy, or maybe if they have like a very rich lifestyle, they are like, we will not, I will do my best to never go below this, because, or lower this kind of lifestyle that we have, because they do love, they have an stability, they have a system. And I think that he's like, I have to work harder for my family. So he feels very responsible. This is why he keeps maybe taking projects that, because I do see him here in the middle as the Knight of Pentacles. And there's this feeling of like, um, it's like he does projects that maybe, a guy like him, he probably wouldn't have to do them. Or maybe he's very picky and selective about the projects that he picks. But I see him that he's, maybe this year he's like, no, I want to do more, or I want to show up more, and I want to, start like rehearsing more, or I want to, so maybe he in a sort of hiatus as an actor, and now he's in this year he started slowly to, go back into the scene, because I see this Knight of Pentacles is very hardworking. He's very productive, but also is slow when it comes to, maybe his success. I don't see him that celebrated, honestly, at least not this year, because we have we have the Moon and we have the Seven of Swords. So I think that fame or recognition this year can be very elusive for him. Can be very elusive. I don't know if he's getting criticism. also see in the Knight of Pentacles, there's a bit of a slowness or a stagnation, and people may be thinking that his style is something that they've seen before of his. It's like he's repeating his previous roles, maybe, or that the roles that he takes are not that interesting. So there's like a lack of, connection with the audience, and also I think that he also is like picking certain projects that maybe he's not that passionate about. It's just that, what saves him of this sort of work is that he shows up and does the work, that he's a consistent person. But I think that he also is not satisfied with the roles that he has been given. I think that they, like I said, they start like they look very promising, but they end up just being very confusing, or maybe they are very complex, and sometimes not. It's not for everyone, or it's not for like all the public. I think that there's part of the audience that gets the message, and there's other parts that they get very like on board. Like, I don't get this that you're doing. um I'm bored, I don't want to keep watching. um Also, there's a bit of people not seeing that he's genuine. I don't know how that you could see. um is it disingenuous, the word in English, disingenuous? Yeah, but there's something about the public being like, we don't think that you are genuine. Oh, could it be that they feel like he's not Korean? Or he is Korean, but they see that he, when things get tough or when things get a bit confusing, he runs away. Or maybe he evades the press, or he doesn't talk to the press, or he doesn't clarify things. So there's like this also this shadow about his persona, that people are like, oh, so you come here to work and you do all this and then you disappear. They, I don't know if they would expect him to be more present, or to answer and talk or address certain topics, that they feel like he doesn't address important topics, like he always vanishes, or he never, answers people's questions. I don't know, maybe it's about his personal life, people wanting to know, people needing a clarification from him, and he never does this because he's very private. But people seem like this is fishy of you, that every time things get complex or things get confusing and it has to do with you, you run away. So I don't know about if he has a future project, or if there's a movie or something coming of him. I wonder if there could be like a kind of issue about this, because I do see him evading a bit, maybe him not wanting to make a comment about this, or not wanting to give the people an answer. But people find that very, yeah, disingenuous. Yes. mm, mm. Yeah, we have the wall that is a success. So could it be that he's really loved internationally? Because the world card is like, if they don't want you, we will have you. Maybe the international fans are more devoted to him, or they really love him. They really like, they like his style of acting, and they get him, and they're like, why don't you come here and act with us, or perform with us? This is another actor that somehow I feel like, if he could expand his influence or his work overseas, he would do very well. With the world card, it's like you have a world of options, a world of opportunities, like be more diverse. Because what is going on in his home country? Because I think that there's a lot of hostility towards his person. So what happened? People don't believe what he says. And I wonder why is that. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah, an article came on Koreaboo where netizens comments are like his marriage doesn't make him attractive anymore, to explain why his drama has low ratings. Yeah, because he comes with her. It's not that he brings her, to the picture, but she comes with him. She's very, I don't want to say like she's, this is why I was asking, like, is she rich, is she, because it seems like she shines so much, like she takes up a lot of space, maybe when she's seen with him. So it's really hard to ignore someone like this. And also she's very stable. She is like the wife. So she has a very special position, and probably he adores her. Also, there's something about him being like, I'm going back to work to for this woman, because this woman, I want to give her everything she deserves, because she's a queen and she deserves the best of the best. And I see that he's very humble, actually. He's very hardworking. It's just that, when you see him, you see her. So maybe for people, it's really tough to adapt and be like, I'm seeing you like a lover when I know you have wife and kids. And she's very memorable, or she maybe is very eye-catching. So people always associate him and his relationship. They cannot separate those things, and maybe this is why he's losing his appeal somehow. Yeah, maybe the drama also is not good. I'm seeing it like this year, that we talked about this. This year for K drama, C drama, movie, J drama, any kind of Asian content, and maybe even like American drama and movies in general. They're not that good. They're not that good. And if they have something good, they want to do like, oh, let's do 5 seasons of this. And no, you could just leave it at one, and that's it. Mm. Okay, I'm going to continue with 17. Let's see 17 for the next 3 months. Let's see how they go. Mm. They are in a very sensitive moment, also 17. In a moment also of a lot of changes, a lot of transformation. So, it feels like a lot of like feelings and suspicions maybe, and people feeling sensitive about the group, then feeling sensitive about each other and their identity and what they're bringing. They could actually talk about this, but actually the guys are very good. They are very I think that they have like a good dynamic, and there's a lot of love and support in here. So if they're going to be okay, it's just that I can feel the sensitivity. I can feel the sensitivity in the reading. For 17, 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups. We have the moon in the middle. The moon keeps coming out. We have the King of Wands, that this could be the leader. And we have the 3 of Pentacles. So yeah, they're going to keep working, continue working with whatever they have available, whoever is available. The group is going to remain. But yeah, we have, as an advice, we have the Death card that it says change. Yeah, the desk card. They are going through a transformation, and they are going to continue next year with, with, like we mentioned, the enlistment. Is the end, is the end of an era, is the end of a certain way of doing things. And it feels that I feel the sensitivity in the air. It's just that I also think that they somehow promised each other, they have like an emotional commitment. They agree on something, or they agree to show to the fans, as people keep enlisting, and there's changes, and there's going to keep being changes in certain dynamics, in certain units. You guys have to adapt to change, because it's going to change every once in a while, and it's going to be like this for maybe 2 years or so. So yeah, get ready, adapt, like mentally adapt, because I think that they already know. It's just that there's a lot of emotionality in the middle, in a lot of fears, honestly, a lot of fears. But I think that they like I said, they got to a very emotional agreement, or sentimental agreement, where they were like, no matter what, no matter how many of us are still performing, or working as artists, let's show our best. Let's show our best. Let's show people that we are a family, that we are united, that we are defending our legacy, or our style, our identity as a group. So there's a lot of commitment, and there's a lot of strengths, coming from the group. So even though they know that, things are weird, in the atmosphere, it feels very sensitive. It feels like, they also, with the moon card, they could feel that, maybe the fans also get a bit suspicious, and there's people freaking out for smallest things, or for tiniest things, and then be like, we are okay. Like, like, we are okay. Like, please don't panic, or don't start with, thinking like, oh my god, this is the end, because this person is going to enlist, and then the other one, and then, it's like, they know that, the sensitivity is in the air, but at the same time, they're like, well, we have to embrace this. This is part of our process. So we have to embrace instability, and also, uncertainty. That, yeah, they don't have all the answers. They just know that they have to keep as a group, and they're going to give it their all, to somehow keep bringing music to people, entertaining people. But yeah, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel weird. It's not going to feel like, oh, like the usual. No, no. But, in here, like I said, I think that I see the leader, with this King of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. They will keep working. He will keep working for the group. I think that he's the one that probably works, or is the one that tries the hardest to keep, the dynamic alive, or to maybe keep, if he records, or if he creates something individually, he's the one in charge in here. I see him somehow, be like, oh, I want this for the group, or he shows his face. There's something about the group also being like, for my group, or for my members, I want this, or I need this from you guys. So, either talking to the company, like middling in, but he's very bold. He's very much involved. He's very serious and very brave about, facing the instability, facing that maybe, yeah, the atmosphere feels very odd, maybe, if they had, attention, or if they had, certain good relationships with people, maybe now is a very sensitive time, and somehow, if he goes to talk to some people, they act like they don't know things, or they are like, yeah, we will let you know, but then they don't give them like a proper answer. Or when he needs something, they need some kind of resource, or some kind of, material or something, they deny it, or they hide things from him. So I think that him as the leader, he's going to have to be on a watch. I would say he will have to be on a watch, 24/7, somehow looking out for the group and for whatever the members need, because it feels like they need him, because maybe he has a more like a more aura of authority, so they need him to be present, because otherwise there's some things that are not clear in here. Maybe it's about the management of the group. So yeah, having the leader is, I think, that is key for the group to keep functioning and keep achieving things. But it's going to do well. They're going to keep working, so don't worry. But yeah, the death card that it says, changes. So yeah, it's all changes, guys. It's not going to be like the usual. It's not going to be the usual things, the usual tactics. It's all going to change, and you have to adapt to this. You have to embrace this and adapt to this. And maybe if you, as fans, if you want to help them somehow, if you have some doubts or something like this about the group, maybe you can, I don't know if the guys have like Bubble or a platform where they communicate with the fans, but I think that there should be someone in charge as a fandom, that they are like, we want to talk to the leader and let him know or give him a feedback about things that maybe we are seeing that they are not that stable, or some things that we find funny, that is like, we're not trusting this. Is this official? Is this good? Is this like this? You always go back to the leader. You always ask the leader about, if you can reach out to him. But don't get triggered. Don't get emotional. It's just that things are changing, and probably them, coming and going is going to be a bit unstable. By the way, I want to ask you, when you read for somebody, or let's say you see two figures, do you, as a rule, think it represents two different people and not just different sides of who you read for? In my experience, reading, when I see the queens or the knights, the pages, the kings, there's moments where the first thing I feel is like there's someone here in the reading. For me, I feel it like when it's an outsider, when it's someone that can influence the person who I'm reading for. And then I kind of, when it doesn't ring, that is intuition, yes, because it's like when it's not that heavy on presence, I'm like, oh, this is a part of that person. This is a trait of this person. This card represents a mood, an attitude, or something that the person should integrate, or it has to do with them, with the person that I'm reading for. But it's mostly intuition. It's mostly intuition. When I read for someone and I see, certain kings, queens, sometimes they feel, I don't know, I feel it very literal. Like, this is why when I see the Rider White, I think about this as in a scenario in literally the medieval, is it medieval times? Well, in these times, where people used to be like this, where people used to be like this, this was their era. And when it comes to people or feelings or, interruptions, like they somehow enter the reading and they are like, here I am. I feel it as if they are stepping, as if they are like, I don't know why. I feel it like this. I feel like I can hear their steps on the reading. And they're like, I'm here for a reason. My presence here is important. Whether it's to create chaos or to be here, but I matter. Acknowledge me because I matter. But I feel like it's sort of like, yeah, like, and when they come in a horse, I can when it's a night, I can hear the stampings of the horse. I can hear them walking. It's odd, but I feel it like this. It's very sensorial. It's like, but when it's theirs, when it's about the person, it's like I look at it and I'm like, no, this is them. This is like it's part of them. This is them. This represents their energy or what they're not seeing. That is odd. I don't know if another tarot reader goes through this, but for me, it feels like this. It feels like I feel them coming. I don't know. Mm. Yes, like a little movie. Yes, I see that. I see like it's moving. It's moving. It's like taking up space. This is why I think that, you know, sometimes when I see, you know, people that they just pull cards and they're like this and this and this, and they keep pulling and pulling, and it's like you are not watching the whole scenario. Like you have to watch the whole picture. The whole picture, just with 5 cards, they tell you where this is going or where it comes from. You just have to observe. But there's moments when it comes with about certain characters or certain, you know, people that I look at it and I'm like, oh, you are somehow, you know, you are getting my attention. There's something that you want to say in here. I don't know what, but they are in there. And when it's just major arcanas, is that the person is either going for something very spiritual or like a moment that it feels like a lesson, a life lesson, and it's not so much about like, okay, if I'm working or if I'm being successful or if I'm earning money or if I'm getting married. It's more like them being good with themselves. Like a scene unfolding. Yes. Okay, I'm going to continue with Treasure member Kim Jungku. That someone said that he is the leader. He's one of the leaders, probably one of the current leaders of Treasure, Kim Jungku. They wanted to see how he's. I believe maybe he's a Virgo as well. Kim Jungku. Treasure. Kim Jungku. Phew. He wanted 6 cards, definitely. He's one of the new leaders. He also got the 5 of Cups in the middle. What is he grieving? What is he grieving? It's like, why are these Virgo people feeling so sorry for themselves? Like, stop it, please. Like, you know, we are all going through this in this season, but why? Okay, for him, we start with the World card. We have the 10 of Swords, 5 of Cups in the middle. Then we have the Sun. We have again the Chariot, and then we have the Death card. This one wanted to come out. So yeah, I have 6 cards instead of 5 for him. And we have the Knight of Swords, that the keyword, the you know, the advice for him in the rest of 2025 is bravery. Is bravery. Connect with your intellect. You know what to do. You are intelligent. Is he a new leader? Or has he done this before? Because there's something here that I'm like, this man doesn't like changes. They change the dynamic and he doesn't like it. I think that he's like, you know, this. I was hoping this wouldn't happen to me. It's just that he's very intelligent. He has the potential. It's just that he also has the potential to sabotage himself. um yeah, with the world and the Ten of Swords. There's something about, like, somehow the cycle in the group, or the dynamic in the group, or the, where they were going, it changed drastically. Something changed. I don't know if it's the way the group is being managed. There's news, something. But I think that for him, it's like, yeah, I kind of like it that we are advancing, but I'm a bit afraid as well. He's afraid of advances. He's afraid of advancing, which is cute. I actually like, I'm like, I get it. I get it. I get it. Because the cards that he gets is that actually he will advance at the end and he will do great. It's just that, could it be that he is a bit cowardly? Because the kind of bravery is like shouting to his face, like, you are better than this. You better continue. You better do not think that you cannot do this, because you got this. But the Five of Cups, see, it seems like he's missing someone. Did someone leave? Did someone leave? He's like missing the always. He's like, I wanted things like they used to be before. Now I don't feel like myself now. Feels sad. Feels sad. He's like, oh, I wish things were different. I remember him in that show. Yeah, seems like a thing for the Virgos because of the clips of their on their suns, probably. Yeah, yeah. I have the sun in here also. He's very charismatic. He's going to shine. He's going to do amazing. He's going to do amazing. Definitely, he's going to do amazing. He's a very charming member. Very hardworking also. It's part of his destiny. It's just that part of his destiny is embracing change. He has to grow. He has to mature. So maybe there's something that is bothering him about maturing, about becoming older, wiser. There's something about this transition that he's like going through it. He's like, I don't feel like myself. I'm looking back at the things that I couldn't do, and I regret a lot of things. And he gets like this, he gets, and he's like, it never stops. This is why we have the Ten of Swords. It's like, like we were talking, about not being able to sleep and just staying until dawn, sort of reflecting on all our bad decisions, until the sun comes, and they find us like this. But I think that there must be a reason why he's feeling like this now. I wonder if he went through something personally, and maybe this is why he feels like he lacks the motivation, or he lacks the energy. So because I see that he will do amazing. Like, actually, he maybe, him in the group, maybe his role or his attitude is very cheerful. I don't know. I think that he shines a lot. He will shine a lot, but maybe, he has this, he's very charismatic, or he maybe is very funny. But internally, I think that he's just full of doubts, or he's like full of regrets. He's like, I don't like this. I don't like this era. I want what we had back then, not now. So did something happen in YG? Did the change the managers or something like this? Because I see that he's grieving someone that no longer works in there, or is not in there. And this is why he's like moving towards change. And I think that this is what frightens him. Like, oh my God, things are changing. Things are changing, and I'm not that happy about it. But yeah, the Knight of Swords, bravery. So you keep doing you. You got this. He is very intelligent. It's just that he has to overcome his own fears. He's a very intelligent person. It's just that he has to master his mind, not let his mind rule him. He has to be brave. these are moments that somehow maybe they demand of him to take this more active role where he cannot hide nor act like, oh well, I'm not part of this, so I will go and hide in corner. No, he will be very much seen, very much exposed, maybe the camera always on him, or he will have this very you know um funny moments, and there's a lot of attention on him in particular. um so yeah, if he has some kind of doubts, he will have to overcome them. It's part of the lesson of this year, and be brave, be brave. But yeah. uh, uh, uh. He just turned 25. Quarter life crisis. Almost retirement for an idol. Yeah, he was very smiley in the dating show. He's very sweet. It's just that he doubts himself a lot. He fears change also. He fears change. He probably is that one person that you have to grab him by the hand and somehow explain very slowly what is going to happen when news arrive, and when there's like modifications. You have to let him know beforehand so he can prepare himself mentally. You cannot throw him into a new position just like this, because he freaks out. He freaks out. But then you see him smiling on stage or maybe acting, and he's just a sunshine. He's just so magnetic. It has nothing to do with talent or exposure. It's more about maybe his own personality, that it's like a bit not a bit fearful, or being afraid of being unprepared or seem unprofessional. Mm. Yeah, I see. I see it. I'm like, he dislikes change. He's like, I don't want this. I don't want to be here. And maybe everyone is like, well, but it's not a big of a deal. And for him, it is. For him, it is. For him, it's a huge deal. Okay, let's see. I-dle Japanese album in October. How is going to go? I-dle Japanese album in October. It's going to do very well. They love them over there. Could it be that the Japanese audience loves them? Because I see a lot of openness. Yeah, I see a lot of openness to them, like a lot of love, like a good combination of money and love, like prosperity and love, money being invested with love. Ace of Cups for I-dle Japanese album. Ace of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and Nine of Cups. Yeah. And strength, it says self-love. Yeah, I think that they are stronger, or they are more powerful than what they think. And maybe this is like a great exercise, or this is like a great opportunity for them to learn this about themselves. Maybe this is why maybe this Japanese album gets more like recognition or a better reception than maybe in Korea or other parts of the world, because it looks very, very nice, very positive, very successful. Um, but also, the Page of Cups, again, the amateur kind of, mindset. So I think that I don't know if this that they created, it was initially like, it was like, maybe they are trying, or they are doing something different, or they are starting over with a new style. So it feels like it's not that they are an experts on what they did or created. But the Nine of Cups is like you are going to feel satisfied with the rewards. You're going to feel satisfied with the maybe the feedback. You know that they're going to receive a lot of love. Like people really are going to see. Maybe they're going to try something new and they are showing it to the fans for the first time over there. So I think that the fans will love it. I think that the fans will love it. There are a lot of good vibes. A lot of good vibes. And also, with the strengths card that it says self-love, somehow it's like reminding them to love themselves. It's like, be proud of who you are, love yourself a bit more because you deserve it. You've done a great job. You've done a great job. Maybe they had been criticized for a very long time, or maybe there's a certain like stigma on them, or there's something about them not feeling like qualified enough and then feeling like amateurs, even though the creation, it seems very, very good, very much of quality, very much like um, people are so open to them to receive whatever they give, like whether it's you are going to tour or over there, or you're going to, present yourself, or you're going to give them something, content. They are very eager to receive them. There's a lot of love. So maybe there's something about them, somehow with the strengths card. It's like, you guys be prepared to receive that love or the good feedback because you deserve it. You deserve it. You worked hard. These girls are working hard. But yeah, there's something about their style of what they create, what they release for them over there, that it matches, or it resonates a lot with the audience over there. I don't know if there's like a more like dreamy style or somehow like more like fantasy style, but I see a lot in here there's no pastel colors, but I don't know why I feel like pastel colors, like pink and and light blue, something like this. Also there's a lot of cups, so yeah, it's going to do well. It's going to be very positive. It's going to be very positive. Yeah, it seems like I'm like, wow, the reception is amazing. Yes. Mm. Yeah, good for them. Yes, exactly. Good for them because they definitely they try their best to to be original or to change their styles. These are girls that they study a lot, or maybe they're always trying to incorporate something new. So I think that it's great that they are being received with a lot of love and acceptance, and that this comes from a place of I genuinely like you. Um, and not so much for like when it feels like someone is pretending to like you just to say something. I think that is genuine coming from them, from that audience. Okay, let's see. Fluffy, Jungkook and Jimin. Let's see. I know you didn't ask for this. Is not. Is I don't think that you can. But since you are here with me, let's do this. Let's do this. Please don't move because somehow I feel like maybe your presence is somehow helping me stabilize the internet connection. So let's just stay like this. Yeah. This is why I'm like I'm trying to touch wood in here to not have any interruptions. Okay. Jungkook, Jimin. Hmm. Does Jungkook have like a lady friend or someone because it could be him. I also would see like it could, we were discussing about this, Rafi, about like this could be a person, but this could also represent a part of himself. But I think that it could be someone also. I feel like feminine energy in the middle, and I'm like, Okay. From Jungkook's part about his friendship with Jimin, we have the King of Wands and we have the Page of Swords. And then from Jimin's part, we have the Knight of Wands and we have the Six of Cups. The connection, we have the Queen of Pentacles. And the advice from the other deck is the card of the Seven of Wands. It says, hold your ground. Hold your ground. So I think that there's a lot of wands in here. This is why I'm like, this sort of represents, the energy of, I can see it here initially from their first cards. We have Jungkook in here as the King of Wands, and we have, Jimin in here as the Knight of Wands. So there's like a very, fiery kind of exchange at the moment in this connection where it feels like maybe they are being more outspoken and maybe if they have certain differences or if they have something to say to each other or even if they have to have a sort of argument or confrontation, they are in the mood for like, I'm going to tell you what I think, or I'm going to really tell you how I feel. The King of Wands and the Knight of Swords, that this is why for JK, I'm like, this could be a part of himself, somehow, being this very assertive, also, showing that he is somehow more mature, that he's a man, that he's no longer, the baby, and him trying to assert his dominion in the connection, and maybe, stating with the Page of Swords, him being very sharp in his connection. I mean, like, I want to draw some boundaries, or I want to tell you that I will not do this, or I will not do this. I probably, usually in their connection, maybe Jungkook in the past, he was a bit reluctant, like, I usually never say no to you, but now I'm starting to speak up. I'm starting to tell you what I don't like. He seems much more in control, much more assertive, and probably he has been like, there's something about him being not holding on, but maybe him not expressing himself that much out of respect for Jimin and being like, yeah, I will not contradict you right now because you're like my brother and I love you. But the Page of Swords is giving me like somehow, the gates are open and he's like, okay, I have something to tell you. I have something to tell you. I don't agree with this. I don't like this. And also, this card is all about Jungkook is, somehow standing differently. A King of Wands is someone that somehow is like owning up to his own independency and being like, I want to do things for myself, or I want to do this for me. So, probably I will not be available like I used to. I want to do things separately, or I want to remember that when I read for them individually, but they would come up in each other's readings. Like I would sense that they were very attached. Once they got out of the military, it seemed like they were the same, like two people, one soul, something like this. Two bodies, one soul. In here, I can see, JK's or Jungkook's personality coming out. I mean, like, I have to differentiate myself from you. I think that we have been together, like we have been, very much like spending a lot of time together, and I need air. I want to do things differently. I want to go out to different places that maybe you don't want to go, but I want to explore. I want other things that you don't want. So instead of me arguing with you or trying to convince you to do things, I better choose go on my own. But I think that it all has to do with maturity, and maybe him somehow showing up in here stronger than Jimin or more masculine than Jimin, and being like, I changed. I'm a man. I'm not a child. I'm not a child anymore. So, I will go and do what I want to do. But yeah, the page of source, like I said, it could be a trait of his, like a voice of his somehow, advising him to, like, you need to speak up, or you need to draw boundaries, or you need to tell him this. Otherwise, he will not realize that this is what you want. But it could also be a person. It could also be, this is why I'm like, is this like a lady friend of JK? Is this like a new friend? I don't want to say partner, because no, it's not romantic, but it could be a friend, a lady friend. It could be a lady friend, someone that maybe is the one that is like, let's go out, let's do this, or maybe someone younger than JK, and him be like, well, yeah, I kind of, I want to hang out with you. And this is why I think that there's someone in the middle, and this is why it seems like the ones in here, like, it seems very fiery, the connection, the interaction. From Jimin's part, yeah, Jimin also is like, holding up his wands, like somehow being combative himself, because the Knight of Wands and the Six of Cups is someone that is like responding to what JK is saying. And I think that from maybe, yeah, Jimmy, initially he maybe doesn't take it very well. He's like, but why you mean that you want to do this without me, or you want to go ahead and do this without me, if we always done things this way, so him feeling angry, him feeling frustrated. That usually I don't get cards of Jimin feeling frustrated, or angry, I would say, but these sort of changes somehow spark a bit of, I'm not comfortable with this, or I'm a bit annoyed that you do this. Or maybe that you change your plans. You said that you were going to do this with me, and now you say that you don't want to. So I see him resisting a bit to the idea that maybe JK is not listening to him anymore, or is not listening to his advice anymore, or he's somehow trying to differentiate himself and do what he wants to do. And I think that for Jimin, it feels like he feels a bit hurt by this. The Six of Cups is like, why can't we go back to how we used to be? He feels lately, and probably this is a reflection of his, about seeing, JK feeling so powerful also, so like decisive, of being like, I'm letting you know that I'm not doing this with you. And him being angry, but behind that anger and that reaction, there's a bit of nostalgia, there's a bit of nostalgic feeling of like, what, you were different, you weren't like this. Maybe there's a part of Jimin that he refuses to see that JK has grown, that JK is another person now, that he's a man of his age, that, I think it has to do with childhood memories, or them, he probably thinking that he would always be the one that would lead in the connection because he was older, or there was something about maybe in the past when they were really young, maybe JK looked up a lot to Jimin, or he had him like a role model, or this is how Jimin felt, like, oh, JK always comes to me for advice, he's always looking for me, and he kind of got used to this idea that, he will always be like this baby, he needs me, like this, like, why is he acting like this? He needs me. And maybe, feeling a bit, angry about this sort of realization that things are not like they used to be. The Six of Cups is like, can we go back to when we were younger, or when we were children? So I think that he could, go through a bit of time, maybe feeling a bit frustrated at these changes, and maybe also mirroring this to the group and be like, why can't we go back to when we were happy in the past? You know, there's something about Jimin looking back at the past and maybe how everyone is changing, and him being like, oh, we weren't like this. I don't know why things are changing. I don't know why my relationships are changing. You know, he's sort of also caught up in a fantasy that, you know, or maybe he's refusing to see that, yeah, people are changing. People around him are changing, and that maybe he shouldn't be, you know, upset or reactive to other people's having different lives, you know, or different decisions or different lifestyles than him. You know, it feels like for him, this is like a huge blow to his heart, you know, to his persona. He's like, oh my, like how did you change without me? What do you mean that you don't you're not going to do this with me? That you don't want to spend time with me? What is going on? You know, for him, it feels sensitive. You know, it feels like maybe he has to, you know, somehow behind. I think that he will not get it entirely, because the Knight of Wands is giving me like he will be very upset and he will probably act offended initially or be passive aggressive, because it's like, I will not tolerate this attitude from you. Like, you know, you used to be like this, you used to respect me, so we better, you know, you better stay like this. And JK is already moving on. So yeah, and I think that maybe for Jimin, this is like a year of a lot of, you know, a lot of his friendships or his connections, and maybe he has this sort of like circumstances with different members, you know, somehow seeing them becoming, you know, different people, just evolving or changing, and him not being able to understand it, you know, and at the same time being like, I wish things were better in the past. And now everything is out of control. I don't like it. I don't understand this. Seems like he's stuck in time, could be. But yeah, you know, their connection, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So I think that if this has to do with them, you know, being seen together or them creating content together, you know, they are like huge money makers. Huge. Together, I mean, their togetherness is very important. It moves a lot. It moves a lot of prosperity. So I think that when it comes to them working together, they will continue to be seen together, to you know, to appear together, to have these sort of collaborations for the group, or you know, maybe, you know, having this content that is about, you know, them. I think that this will not be shaken nor changed. You're going to see them interact, you're going to see them have their moments, you're going to see them maybe collaborating or building. I don't think that is music, but it could be like, I don't know, them buying something together and just like you, or them, you know, working with a brand, and it's the two of them, because both of them represent a lot of money, a lot of money. So in this case, they do have to put, you know, their differences to a side, because their image of the both of them makes a lot of money and it's very stable. So you, even though, you know, you have to keep it professional, you know. But yeah, Seven of Wands also. Seven of Wands, it says hold your ground. So yeah, every once in a while there could be a bit of tension between them, because I think that it is not just them. Maybe it's also the company trying to push, you know, trying to push them and being like, no, you guys have to do this together. You have to stick to the plan. You have to keep showing up together, or you have to keep doing this together. And maybe there's one of them that is like, no, because I want to do something else, or I want to do this too. But he's like, no, because we already have this arranged, so no. So there could be a bit of push and pull between, you know, what is being. I think that the tension, you will feel it. the tension between them, you will feel it, or you will feel that one of them, probably JK, is trying to be more or alone. Like maybe if he has to record something, maybe him trying to be far away or in a distance because he's trying to assert his own brand, or maybe he's trying to do something differently. That he's like, with Jimin, I cannot do this because he doesn't like it or he doesn't understand it. It's like he could do his activities with Jimin, but then he will do the ones that he really wants to do on solitary. um but yeah, there's a lot of, I think that they're, even though they're pushing it when it comes to image, like, okay, you guys have to do this together. At the end, one of them is going to do what they want, because the Seven of Wands is like, I'm defending my ground, I'm not a child anymore, so you cannot tell me how to act. Jimmy been like, come back, you brat. Yeah, him been surprised and actually been offended, been like, oh, you used to need me, you used to need me a lot, or you used to, really come to me when you had, your worries, when you didn't have anyone to talk to, or you saw that no one understood you, and I was there, I was listening to you, and we had long conversations, and but well, JK is changing. He's a grown man. He's a kid of once, and also he wants to assert his dominion. He probably feels very competitive. Also, maybe it's always Akira, the one that remembers. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I should know because it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I should know. I should have paid attention to the hour and be like, oh, it's going to run out of battery. So what you say, Fluffy? Now that I still have time. The internet hasn't left me. What do you think? Should I do the reading for Tae and Jennie update? And it got cut a moment ago. Yeah, I know. You know. Let's do this before the internet leaves me. Okay. Yeah, let's go. I'm going to pull cards for each side. Let's see how it goes. Tae Jennie and the connection. There's another person in the middle. There's a woman in the middle. Also, why does Jennie feel so small? Okay. For Taeyeon, we have the Ten of Pentacles and we have the Six of Swords. From Jennie, we have the Two of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. They're also working on themselves. It's not. And yeah, we have the Queen of Wands in here, the Queen of Wands in the middle. And we have the Five of Wands that it says trouble, tests, strife, Five of Wands. I said, yeah, there's something about their status is changing. Their status is changing. I feel like, why do I feel like Jennie is like starting over? It feels like she's starting over. Maybe she's starting over with certain business decisions, but she feels very small next to him. In the case of Taeyeon, yeah, you know, about, like I said, when I read for him, traveling, expanding his horizons, just having fun, just being in the outside. Not, he doesn't want to be in a building, stuck in a building or stuck in a location. He wants to go out, you know, and also he has the support, or he has the money, he has the means, he has, you know, his people and the company and everyone is supporting his back. You know, there's something about you know, somehow Taeyeon, his reality is that he has a lot of support. He has a lot of support, or he has a lot of money, and he's just living his life, you know, seeing potentials. He's able to advance to whatever destiny he wants, you know. He's just like out there. And but I think that he has a lot of support, if like financially, emotionally, like he has a lot of people supporting him and sort of like encouraging him also to move on. There's something about him. I don't think that he thinks about her like that anymore, because he's somehow going out and just, you know, maybe meeting other people, or just, you know, going somewhere. In the case of Jennie, I think that yeah, maybe also like thinking about her future, you know, with the Two of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. She she could be starting over in her career or in her businesses, and it feels like things are a bit like not so fancy for her in this moment. So I wonder how her, you know, I know she's very popular and whatever she does is going to be well received, but maybe she's doing like some financial decisions, or, you know, a rebuilding of her brand or something like this, or maybe she's taking more risky decisions for her future. It seems like she's starting over. She's like, you know, starting from a very, you know, modest place. You know, she probably is learning new things or learning new skills, or she's starting to work on something or invest in something that it feels very early. So I think that for her also, she's not thinking about relationships. She's more thinking about maybe this business of hers, or maybe this reality of hers. It feels like she is starting from the bottom, I would say. She's starting from scratch. And she must be focused, because these are huge movements that she's doing that is not that fancy like the ones that she usually does. I don't know. I don't see losses, but seeing the Page of Pentacles, I'm like, it seems like she went back to square one, and I don't know why. I don't know why. What is going on with her deals, with her brand deals? Because it feels like she's aiming for something that is unknown, or something that maybe people are like, really, you're going with that? You're going with that brand? It's risky. It's risky, but this is what she wants. And I think that in this case, yeah, they're worried about their life, and I think that for Taeyeon is like, I don't have time for romance. I don't even think about romance. I just want to live a good life, and I want to have fun. Like I said, also, this could be a person, literally someone that maybe is also very influential, someone that is very famous, somehow entering in the picture between the two of them and getting a lot of attention for being associated maybe with Taeyeon, because it's a woman. So I'm like, this woman comes to sort of, steer the things. Maybe this person has or was a friend of Jennie's or has some kind of connection. It's like, you're hanging out with this person, when you used to be friends of the other, like, people like always speculating. Or this could be also a mutual friend of theirs trying to have them, to communicate or have, their connection be like, you guys should talk or something like this. But the Five of Wands is this conflict. Like, no, there's a lot of pride here. There's a lot of pride. There's no communication. It still feels very childish. It feels very immature. This is why I didn't want to read for them, because when I read for them last year, or I don't know, before Taeyeon listed, how they were navigating this relationship. And also I read for Jennie after he enlisted, how she felt how she felt about him, if he came back after the military, if they're going to resume the bond. She also felt like, well, I leave my options open, but it felt very not serious and not responsible at all. So this is why I think that, I don't see a future here. I think that I don't want to say like they are not good for each other, but I think that this is not love. This is not romantic. This is more like, oh, I like you and you like me and we hang out and we look good together. And there's no emotions, and at least they're not fighting. There's no communication, so I don't see them like fighting or trying to send each other, these messages. I think that each of them are living their lives, and I see a bit of economical instability from Jennie's part. And from Taeyeon, I see him that probably he's spending a lot of money, or he has a lot of money, and he's probably is hanging out with also very rich people or influential people, but they all have his back. So he's living his life, he's advancing. I think that they, there are different circumstances. The feel so career oriented. Hasn't Jennie tried to the West more and more recently? Oh, I don't know. The ONU card. The ONU card. This is so him. This is so him. This is so him. We saw it. We saw him and we were like, yeah, this is him. It looks like him, definitely. Honestly, except for that file once in the middle, feels like no card talks about the relationship. No, but I think that they still, I think that for a while, they still will be related to each other. Because when I see this Queen of Wands in the middle, I'm like, this could be someone that is interested, that maybe is talking to Taeyeon or is interested in Taeyeon, but the Queen of Wands is also looking at Jennie's side. So it's like, I want to have what Jennie had, or I want to do, I want to be Jennie, like Jennie, like song. I want to be Jennie. I'm obsessed with Jennie. So it feels like, it's sort of, even though they are not together, maybe the memory or the remembrance of that they used to hang out. I don't know. I think that people really, even people that are from their circle, like people that know these people in real life, they will associate them for a very long time, and it feels prestigious. It feels like, I think that any kind of girl that maybe will be associated to Taeyeon at some point, there will always be the ghost of Jennie in the back, even if she doesn't acknowledge it. Maybe the fans will, maybe we will, we the audience, we will be like, oh, he used to date Jennie, or he used to be with Jennie, or what would Jennie think of this? Somehow for driving Jennie and Jennie's memory and name into the conversation, when actually, maybe it wasn't that deep, and I don't know. I just feel like, and I have to be honest, I don't think that these people know how to be in a relationship. It's not someone's fault. I think that Jennie and Tae, both of them, they don't have the maturity enough to know, what it implies to be in a relationship. Like, there's a lot of work in a relationship, a lot of commitment, a lot of, seriousness in a connection. And I think that she never got to that level with him, nor vice versa. So there's something about them being a bit immature in that sense. Like, no one was talking clearly. At least this is what I get energetically from the cards. That yeah, there was good vibes. Yeah, I will take care of you, or I will be there for you, or I will help you. A lot of promises, but there wasn't like, oh, you're my partner. Like you are my girlfriend, or you are my boyfriend. Like, there was an illusion, like when you have this crazy idea of what it is like to be in a relationship, but you never were in a relationship, and you never was in a relationship. So it feels like a fever dream, like you think that it happened, but you guys never talked about it. You guys never agreed to do this. This is why I'm like, these people, maybe they need to date older people, older than them, or more experienced than them, because it didn't feel like a relationship. It didn't feel like, hey, we are dating. Hey, like, we're together. Like, no. Why that? I cannot read you in there. I'm so blind. I have to look for the kind of like how other Jennie's boyfriend get associated with her dating B2. Because bringing up Kai is still to this day, yes. It feels shallow and performative, but that's how their mind work most of the time, so you can blame. Specifically, these two have to be seems very focused on reputation and prestige more so than yeah. Mm-hmm. More mature or from other environment, because sometimes older people are just more immature. Yeah, maybe from another environment. Yeah, another. Yeah, not idle. Just yeah, from another. Yeah, another kind of business. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because is in this case, like I think that is both of them fault. like it's not that, oh, one brought it up or officialized it and the other one didn't get it. No, it's both of them. They never said the words. They never established. Like it's so weird. It's so weird. Yes. Yeah, but also, she also has like a lot of fears. Like has been judged all the time. So maybe for her it was like a safe place, that okay, we are not putting labels, or it's like, oh, I know you care about me. There's no need for us to talk about this because you're with me. Like there's something just very magical, it feels, like, but in reality, there's no foundation. But probably for her, it was like, if she has like some fear of attachment or some fear of commitment, it was like, well, if it happened like this, it's like, I, I felt the love nevertheless, or I felt taken care of nevertheless, or I felt that he cared nevertheless. Yeah. I would think about her in like in other BTS member, but I never thought about her and B. I swear I never. If you would be like, have you ever like thought that they would be the two of them? No, 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 not at all. Because I see them more like they are very similar in some things. So I wouldn't see them. Mm. To each other, so lack of intimacy, even though they have been as much on such a so high physical chemistry. Yes. Yes. Also, it was her and her mom growing up, so maybe she doesn't have good references. Yes, or fears ending up in a certain way. Yes. Yeah, it's like, I'm loving this that we have, but I cannot let go of this that is important. Because also, let's face it, they are part of the two most like popular groups. So there's a lot to lose, especially for her part. Not so much for him, but for her part, the stalking, the hate that she must have received. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, I think that probably they got into this place of stagnation. When you're like, this was great, but I don't feel anything. Like, this was great, but you know that it feels like there's something lacking, and you have no idea what it is, but you just know that this is not how it's supposed to go. They have a lot of opportunities to find, but probably they also have a lot of responsibilities on their shoulders. It's not that they can dedicate, at least not now, to find a potential partner. Yeah, they can sort of understand each other in that in those huge groups. Yeah, I probably, this is. I remember when I watched. Wasn't it and readings of him of these two of Jennie and Tae? And did a reading a couple of years ago. Um, and what he got back then, he mentioned that about how he felt like this connection had a lot to do with them maybe empathizing a lot with each other's circumstances, and being like, I'm going through this, and the other one being like, me too, I'm also dealing with this, like, and them, have connection because of this. Mm. I remember the reading of Ant also was very, very good. I like it. I like it. Because I know he knows nothing about, K-pop groups, so it was very interesting to see his reading. It was very deep, and it has certain details that you're like, it sort of makes sense what you're seeing. Yeah, that mini, yes, the sibling bond. Yeah, that's what he said. Yes, that there was like a sibling bond. Yes, that's how I feel it. This is why I'm like, I wish, because these are two beautiful people, and if you see their pictures that, we were talking earlier, that, everyone were like, oh, these are Photoshop, these are Photoshop, these are not real. But if you see the pictures, they look so happy together, like doing whatever. They look so happy together. And when you see that, you also somehow, you want this for themselves, or at least me as a person, I see them, and I'm like, it's not that I'm shipping them, but I'm like, they seem very happy in there. I want them to keep having that. I want them to keep, building on that bond. But the cars that I would get were so contradictory, because you can be like, of course, that you have to be in their minds, being an idol, and being famous or not being famous. Like, I'm sure their minds must be like, it takes over their whole personality. It must be really tough to try to live life like them without, having, and also these potential stalkers and sasangs and everyone, trying to, get into your things and personal space. It must be frightening. So when I see the cars, I'm like, all I see in these cars is fear, bad communication, bad communication, bad communication, fear, defensiveness of, I want to end things, or I don't want this, especially from the girl's perspective, super guilty. So I'm like, how can you build, how can you give room to emotions, to happy moments, to compatibility, if you enter this connection always being in fear, and um I think that sometimes when there's some reveal of certain couples, I'm like, I wish I could say that this is going to go well, but there's challenges, and there's a lot of doubts. Like, somehow the person doesn't trust the other part. So this is why when I also read for Jisoo and this actor Ambo Hyun, that Ambo Hyun is a dream. Like, that man is beautiful for me. For like, we were all projecting from Jisoo. Jisoo is dating this actor. For my taste, he is beautiful. And I was like, oh my, this must be great. But then when I read for them, there was a lot of chaos from her side. Like, she already was holding, I don't know if she was like a page of swords or she was like a knight of swords. She had the tower. And then in from Ambo Hyun's part, he was trying to be gentleman and being consistent and just, being there and somehow sustaining and showing that he really wanted to be part of her life. Maybe, doing a lot of acts of service, and her just feeling so angry all the time. Like and I was like, what is going on in here? And then, because the news were leaked, it's so unfair for a woman, I'm sure. So how can you expect these couples to get along like this? If you in your mind you already are troubled, how can you show all your sensitivity, romanticism, sensuality? How can you express all of this if you have all these fears and all this negative influence in you? And in the case of Jisoo and this actor, actually the reception was really positive. People were loving this too. But yeah, they ended. Mm, yeah, they looked really cute. Jennie has very hard aspects of her Venus relationships with be challenging for her. She must have gone through a lot, but she can have potential for transformation. Yes, this too also has a harsh aspect to Pluto, to her Venus. It's really tough for love, but Jennie has the hardest aspect. Oh wow. Lots of fear of loss, often subconscious and testing, controlling. Yeah, like, but I guess it also has to do with industry, with how they have been trained, the fear of being betrayed, the fear of of people loving you or supporting you because you are someone. There's no happy vibes, um but yeah, I'm trying to think about a reading that I have done that I was like, oh, they're happy. I don't remember if I ever done a reading for an idol that is dating someone that I got the vibes that they're happy. Mm. I have this aspect and literally lost in my 20s, and I've seen many people with such aspect losing their partner. Doesn't necessarily mean literal loss, but can be some kind of trauma. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels heavy. Just that also I think that you know um and when I read for Jungkook, remember that I read for all BTS members, reading, um somehow calling out, not the fans, because I know that the international fans are not. I don't think that you guys that are listening to me are, culprits nor anything. But there's a certain part of the fandom that they call themselves fans, um, that they do the investigation and they do the research about, who he follows on social media, who he's been seen with, who he hangs out with, who does he mention, what is going on in his picture, in the surroundings of his picture, if there's some kind of evidence that he's been, if there's someone else living with him, or if he's seeing someone, or if he's spending time with someone, who is that person, where do they work? They do all these, detective somehow work to get information about potential potential friends, or especially of the opposite sex, that and they have the information, and I'm sure they harass this person that could potentially date, especially the Magne line, and they, like I said, they try to scare these people off, and they send so much like threats, or maybe they harass these people online, so that the person, maybe, for maybe the members themselves, or maybe Jungkook himself, maybe he will never, that this is also traumatic, to lose a potential someone, person, you know, maybe he did know, like, oh, they're starting to harass this person that you are getting to know, and this person decides to end the connection because it's like, I cannot live like this. They had been harassing me, they had so I think that also for members themselves, it must be like this sort of helpless, situation where like they cannot stop being who they are, but at the same time they crave intimacy, or they crave to have a connection with someone. And it's like, when you finally are getting to know someone, and oh my God, they get caught, or some information is leaked. So that person is not safe anymore. And also, like, you have to be very much in love with them to be able to, like, okay, I will endure all the harassment, I will endure it all, but I will continue by your side. No, probably some of them have like jobs, reputation, family, that they are like, this is too dangerous for me to be involved with you. So I'm sorry, I have to let you go. And I think that it is traumatizing also, because we don't know what these people are able or are capable of doing. So, mm. Hello, Alexis Concept. I didn't see you in there. I know you were, but I couldn't see your name on that screen. I'm a bit blind. Mm, yes. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to go because it's late here. It's not that it's late, but you know, the good thing about that, spring is coming, is that I can hear the is so it's so nice, because this earth that they usually early in the morning, and then when the sun is starting to go down, they also sing. So it's like an alarm clock. Yes. Ah, I did watch it, Akira. I did watch it. I watched it last night, I believe. Everyone having birthdays in this season. Everyone having birthdays. Well, guys, I'm going to go because my internet is. This is why it's so late. I told you that around 6 p.m. my time, I start to dissociate. Internation, internet connection. I created a word. Oh my god. Yes, yeah, thank God. Like all the prayers, thank you guys. But yeah, I guess during see, I cannot do this like this. In this instability, I cannot do this. But thank you guys for joining. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.